and now they brought it back with a vengeance. They had these people come out of the ring and say, look at this video that was made or that I had made, but I'm not going to explain it. Like, I want to know, do they commission these videos? Are they hitting a cheap plug for IQ Wrestler on Twitter? Are they hitting up IQ Wrestler and saying, hey, homeboy, make me a highlight clip. I need it.
It would be one thing if they were there for a question and answer session after the video played. Like, okay, everybody, you've seen that. Now I'll take questions from the audience about what you've seen. There will be a quiz on this at the end of the semester. No, that's not there. They're just, does Charlotte slip out during the video? Does she, walk up the ramp and out while the video's playing? It's nonsensical.
So Lacey is shown in a very well-lit locker room, mind you.
Very well lit.
I'm impressed. Like, damn, man.
Yeah.
But she cuts a pretty generic promo as well, but it's still good. She's got great delivery, but a lot of generic promos where you said something without saying anything.
Yeah, again, it's also one of those things like Becky's going to have a new nickname after Sunday. Becky Black Eye. That's not going to be her nickname. That's stupid. And
she's had that nickname before.
Yeah, and I'm going to have a new nickname too. Lacey Evans, Raw Women's Champion. That's not a nickname, that's your title. That's the thing that you actually did. That's not... okay, Lacey, whatever. I mean, again, I don't blame her. I just think some of the writing is just atrocious.
Shane McMahon, Daniel Bryan, Rowan, and Elias defeated the Super Samoan Smash Cousins. Shout out to Wild Boy 87.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to another edition of the MrWarrenHayes Show. MrWarrenHayes, and I am uncharacteristically hype for a very, very average episode of SmackDown Live. That's what we're going to be talking about tonight on the MrWarrenHayes Show, because it is the SmackDown Live recap show. It's Tuesday. It is May 14, 2019. That's the show we're going to be talking about. Wow. That was a whole lot of nothing tonight. Man, what kind of world do we live in when Raw is better than SmackDown? What the hell's going on? Oh, boy. But you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that, that SmackDown is so, doesn't quite deliver, that we kind of, there's stuff happening that you're like, what? We got name changes. Look, because there's two important things to remember. First of all, always remember that your boy Warren has one or two rants up his sleeve. That's the first thing. And second of all, we all convene as wrestling fans together, as wonderful, intelligent, beautiful human beings. We all gather around here on youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes to discuss our love of wrestling. Because why else should we do we convene to talk about a wrestling show that did not live up to our expectations if it is not out of pure love? Excuse me for a second. I am back. Yeah. That's why we do it. This is exactly why we do it, because right here in the chat on my YouTube channel, where I do this live every Tuesday night, we have unquestionably the most incredible, intelligent, cognizant, and also handsome/beautiful people that you will find on any wrestling-related chat podcast thing. We have, of course, Kristen Ashley, who is here with us. We've got Anthony Suter, who decided to pop in on a Tuesday night from Smart to Death. Good to see you. Joe Anthony is here as well. JPQ, the world's most handsome mod. Blaine Mendoza is here as well. We got Bob Aruski, who's here. Tim Traver, good to see you both, folks. We got a host of people. And what's fantastic then is people can come in then. They can even if they're not here from the start, they can join in as it progresses, as it goes along, especially if you give a little thumbs up. That helps the video quite a bit. And if you send the video, not the video, but the link out into the wild, into social media wilderness, well, that actually might get some more people in here. And we love our people. We have friends of the show. They're nothing but friends of the show. And then there's new people sometimes who pop in, and I get excited. I get excited when new people arrive. But I get excited just knowing that you are all listening, whether it's live, whether it's later on YouTube, or even if maybe you're listening to this on your favorite podcast application, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, Podcoin, Himalaya, Castbox. Those are what I'm trying to say is that the Mr. Warren Hayes Show is available in podcast format and is available on all podcast applications. You just type in Mr. Warren Hayes and there you go. There you go. I like that. I like that you can choose how you want to consume Warren Hayes. Well, I mean, you don't literally want to consume Warren Hayes. Like, wouldn't want to do that. Tomorrow night is Wednesday, so that means that we're going to be, and look at that right here. What a coincidence, just appearing right there. My Fightful Select recap show for 205 Live NXT UK. That's going to happen 10 p.m. over on FightfulSelect.com, the premium service to Fightful.com, your number one combat sports news website. Fightful Select is the premium service where you get a whole bunch of extra, fantastic, members-only content, including the aforementioned 205 Live NXT UK recap show, retro pay-per-view reviews that I do with Sean Ross Sapp. Sean also does an extra podcast over there called the Fightful Weekly, the Fightful Report, that he does every Wednesday. Then you have Steven Jensen, who does the Weekender, where he covers non-WWE programming. There's Q&A sessions. There's a whole bunch of stuff. If by now you do not know what Fightful Select is, well, you have two choices. You sort of listen to what I'm telling you, and you're like, wow, this is cool. Or you go over to FightfulSelect.com and you check it out yourself, and then you subscribe. It starts at $5 a month, and it's a great way to support what we do over there. Please, for the love of God, subscribe. No, it's not that. It's maybe going a little overly dramatic there, Warren. No, I mean, hey, go check it out. Go check it out. It's a fun time. Something else that you should check out is this Thursday. Upcoming Thursday, in 2 days, therefore, May 16, if you're keeping score, I'm going to be doing my pay-per-view preview show, or prediction show, I should say, because this weekend is Money in the Bank. So I usually have a prediction show. I invite a guest over, and my guest this week will be none other than Kristen Ashley. Will be joining me. It'll be fantastic. Of course, we have such great chemistry. Kristen will be joining. It'll be a good time. We're gonna run down the card. It's gonna be fun. So check us out. Do check us out. Thursday evening should be a lot of fun. And in the meantime, if you can't get enough of Kristen Ashley and you want immediately more of what goes on in her mind space, you head on over to belltobells.com. That is her brand new website devoted to women's wrestling. All that is covered, women's wrestling. What do we talk about on Bell to Bells? Women's wrestling. So you already have a bunch of fantastic, extraordinary articles out there by luminaries of the genre who are writing some fantastic pieces about women's wrestling. So you should go check that out. There's a lot of great stuff there already, and subscribe, follow, I should say, the Twitter account at Bell to Bells. That's BELLTOBELLES. Bell to Bells. See, it's like a play on words. So that's fantastic, and you guys should totally go check it out. And again, I want to remind you that last week I was on the Darren Kirkby's Why We Watch podcast. Darren does this podcast on a weekly basis. Well, not on a weekly basis. He does it once in a while, once a month, once every 3 weeks. Look, it's his show. He decides at what frequency he wants to do it. But he invited me on his most recent episode, where we basically talk about what got me into wrestling, what I like about wrestling, what's cool in wrestling. We talk about wrestling, and it was a really good time. Darren does a great show, so you should check it out. Probably the easiest way to find it would be to go on Twitter, search for the Why We Watch podcast, and the latest episode is with yours truly. And we talk a lot. Well, again, no, we don't. We didn't talk. I talked a lot. We're talking about wrestling, and I get passionate about it. What do you expect? Gee, sheesh! You people should know now. By now, you people. You should know by now. When I start, it's very difficult to stop. So yeah, there we go. Those are all my plugs, all the stuffs that are happening, that are coming up. I'm really glad everyone is here. I'm going to pull up my notes here. There we go. Got my notes at the ready. What more do you want? What more do you want at this point? It is time for us to talk about SmackDown Live. SmackDown Live, which tonight begins in a very familiar... Well, okay, hang on. If I were to tell you, all right, if we were to tell you folks that the show tonight was to start with Roman Reigns and The Miz being confronted by Shane McMahon and Elias, you'd be like, what? What? Hang on a second. No. Are you sure you're talking about SmackDown, Warren, you crazy goof? Because that sounds exactly like the way Raw began on Monday night. Well, I mean, to you, someone maybe, let's say you didn't watch tonight's episode, then yes, that would be a very logical deduction for you to reach. But because you haven't been acquainted with what happened tonight. This is what I'm for. This is where I break down. This is why I do recaps, because then I'm able to get into the meat of the situation and pull it apart, and then show you the gooey center of what happened, so that you can spot the differences, so that you can see, that Raw and SmackDown are indeed entirely different shows, that it's not exactly the same thing. So last night, it started with Miz TV, right? Miz inviting Roman Reigns to the show. Roman being the wild card, right? Remember the wild card route. Let's not forget that. So we have Miz TV inviting Roman, the wild card, into the ring, and then And then Shane McMahon comes out at the top of the ramp, right? You remember that? And Shane comes out, and then he starts talking, but that distracts Roman and Miz. They get attacked by Bobby Lashley and Elias, right? That's how the show started last night. Now this is entirely different tonight, okay? Entirely different. Look. A few weeks ago, the McMahons were all on TV and they were telling us that they were going to mix things up. They were going to keep it fresh, all right? They delivered this evening. They delivered. They gave us something fresh. Last night, The Miz invited Roman Reigns over, but that's not what happened. Not tonight. Tonight on SmackDown, Roman Reigns invited Miz to the ring. Wow! What a twist! What a turn! That's unexpected. So he invites Miz to the ring, and then Shane McMahon comes out. And you're like, well, no, but Shane came out on Monday. It's the same thing again, Warren. On Monday, Shane came out alone. Tonight, Shane came out with Elias. Ooh, whoa, that's just, pooh. I mean, were you expecting this? Fresh, completely and utterly fresh. And here's on top of this, okay? So it's like, okay, well, was there some kind of physical altercation, some kind of confrontation? Yes, there was. Oh, someone snuck in from behind like Bobby Lashley the night before. Nah, again, you're wrong. They got the SmackDown Live Tag Team Champions, Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan, to join them, and they all moved towards the ring, and they surrounded the ring, and then they attacked Miz and Roman, 4-on-2, right up until the Usos arrived. Oh, wild card rules! The wild card rules are it's just crazy. So the Usos arrived, completely different than what happened last night on Raw. Two entirely different setups. Jeez Louise. What a boring way to start off SmackDown. Oh. It was essentially the exact same thing. It was the same thing. We had Roman and Miz, then we had Shane come out and then Elias got involved in let's mix it up by adding the tag team champions. And by the way, Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan didn't have the straps with them. Is it because they're getting them changed? Anyway, I'm already putting too much thought into this because obviously not enough people backstage put enough thought into this because this was pretty much a carbon copy of what happened the night before. I mean, it was nice. The saving grace here was adding the Usos to this mix. But I'm going to tell you folks, I don't know if we can properly see the Warren board tonight. Let me move this. I think this is a little in the way. Sorry for those of you listening to this on podcast, but I've written on the Warren board here. Yes, it's a Warren board, not a whiteboard. Mother always said branding is important. It says here on the Warren board, death to the wild card rules. The wild card rules. I hate the wild card rule. I really do. I don't like it. It's 2 weeks in and I hate it. It does not create. You know what it is? Hang on. I'm trying to say too many things at once. I told you guys I had a rant or two in my pocket tonight, didn't I? You were warned. You were warned. There is no anticipation. There's nothing. There hasn't been a prop. all. I just want to say too many things at once. That's not how language works, Warren. Okay. If there had been a proper brand split, and if the brand split had existed for like a few months, so that we could really have gotten used to the rosters, the separation between them both, then adding in the wild card rule a little down the road as a bit of a wild card, like a bit of unexpected stuff, that would have probably been more effective. Because right now, people are just showing up on Raw and SmackDown right and left, and we're like, oh, well, okay. And the brand split is barely a month old if you consider that it happened one night, which it didn't. It lasted like 3 weeks. And if you didn't consider before that the brand split was already porous, there were people jumping from show to show without much concern months before the superstar shakeup or the wild card rule here. I'm not drunk, chat. I can't tell you people this enough. You people, I don't drink. When I do the show or before the show, I don't, because it'd be worse. Trust me. So if we had time, if enough time had passed so that we could really get a feel for the new rosters, then probably the wild card rule would feel a little more special. People would pop. We'd be like, yay, instead of like, wait, oh, wasn't he just transferred? I mean, I don't understand anymore. All right. So, to me, first and foremost, the wildcard rule is not getting the result that was expected, like excited reactions from the audience. People on Twitter going, ooh, who could pop up tonight? Everyone's like, and now it's 2 weeks in, and we've already seen Roman Reigns on all 4 shows at this point, Miz as well, so it's like, okay, well, it's, no real surprises. Now, this is something this is a reason that I've come up with, because I figured, there's probably people who think that this is a good idea for the audience. But in reality, this is not for the audience. The wildcard rule does not exist for the audience. It exists for creative. It exists for Vince McMahon. It's a get out of jail free card. It's a, whoops, I've painted myself into a corner. Here's a jetpack to get me out of the corner. This is what the wild card rule is. I sincerely, truly believe that once the superstar shakeup was done, once Vince was finished shuffling things around and messing plans up, people were like, well, look, we're screwed now, because we all have all these people on this side. We have all our top tier women on this side, and over on Raw, we're going to have to be building new stars. We don't have no protected stars on that end. All of the tag teams are on Raw. It's like, okay, well, we'll just create this rule that we can toss people back and forth, and that way we'll be able to do stuff anyway. It's lazy. I've come to the conclusion that it's lazy, and it's a get out of jail free card, and I hate it, and it's stupid, and it takes away from my enjoyment of the show. One of the reasons why you have, for those of you who are worried, I'm fine. For those of you who are worried, I'm fine. It is one of the reasons why the brand split exists is so that we can have that every brand can have its contained stories. But right now, The Miz and Shane McMahon and Roman Reigns and Elias, and it's bleeding onto both shows. It doesn't have to. Why are the Usos back on SmackDown again this week? And there's nothing exciting about it. There's nothing where I'm like, oh my goodness, Ricochet showed up. It's just like, well, there's 4 people who can move from brand to brand on Mondays and Tuesdays. So what? It's just something that's going to happen. It doesn't even have that level of excitement. I have a tendency to give things a little more of a chance. Be like, well, let's see how this goes. Let's see how it goes forward. Like, I didn't even mind. I actually liked last night that Apollo Crews had ended up on Raw, even though he ended up jobbing. I was okay with Apollo doing that because I was like, okay, well, at least you can even send the B squad over. It doesn't just have to be the superstars. Anyone can go. And I thought that was okay. You can go to Raw and lose. You can go from SmackDown to Raw and lose. And I'm like, okay. And that's what happened to the Usos tonight. But man, I'm already done. I am completely done with the wild card rule. It is stupid. Maybe they can turn it around, but I doubt it. I completely doubt it. This whole segment, this copy paste of last night, of Monday night, leads us into a 4-on-3 match where we're going to have Shane McMahon, Elias, Daniel Bryan, and Eric Rowan against Roman Reigns and the Usos, and not The Miz, because Shane is the owner now. And since Shane is the owner and he makes the rules, he wants The Miz out of the picture, out of the building. And if he shows up to interfere, the match at Money in the Bank gets canceled. So it's and I mean, why is everyone agreeing to this? Why are they even doing it? I get it. The heels. Okay, hang on. The heels want this to happen because they want to soften up the baby faces. They want to soften up Roman. But they're not softening up The Miz because The Miz, he's going off and the Usos don't even have a match at Money in the Bank. So what the fuck? Wow. I said this last night, and I'll say it again. Because a lot of people have a tendency to just brush it off and say, oh, WWE logic. That's not an excuse for me. It's not an excuse for me. I honestly expect more from WWE because they are the gold standard. They are the mainstream. They have the money. They want to be considered seriously for as television entertainment. They want to win Emmys. They have to create situations, storylines where shit makes sense. And I hold them responsible. Well, yeah, I hold them responsible, but responsible is not the word. I hold them to a higher standard. I feel that like there's no reason why they shouldn't be doing this better. They hire staff. Here's one. I never understood this, and I still don't. You hire an entire staff of writers. Like there's literally a staff writing room in WWE. There's a writer's room. And people sit around and they get paid television money to write for WWE. And then they go and pitch their ideas to Vince McMahon, and he shuts everything down and he says, no, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. Why do you even have the writers in the first place? God damn. Hope everyone's doing okay in the chat. Oh. So anywho, let's move on. We're going to talk about our first match of the evening and talking about things that don't make sense to me. We have a fatal four-way match between the four SmackDown gentlemen who are going to be in the Money in the Bank ladder match this weekend. Finn Balor, Andrade Cien Almas, Randy Orton, and Mustafa Ali. They're all in the match. They're all having a fatal four-way like a few days in before the big pay-per-view. Why? 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 To build momentum. Why? I'm so exasperated. Whoever wins here will have the momentum going in. This is definitely something that means something only in Vince McMahon's brain. Building momentum into the pay-per-view, that's super important. It's like brand supremacy. It only means something to Vince McMahon. The rest of us, we like momentum. What? No. The match ends. The momentum is lost regardless, because you're gonna go home and you're gonna have a nap, perhaps a heavy protein snack. Oh, I've gone. There we go. Wait a second. What's going on with my video all of a sudden? Hang on a second here. I get maybe my video can't take it anymore. There we go. And then, or like that. Why is it doing this? A live show, live programming, everyone. And everything is white. So I think I'm just gonna. There we go. It's fixed. I'm a genius. Oh wait, I'm just looking on the preview here. Okay, there we go. We're okay. We're back. It's one of those nights, isn't it? No, Thanos didn't snap me away, Chad. You wouldn't be so lucky. All right, so let's just start talking about the match. This is probably the best match that we had of the evening here as well. We had Randy Orton and Zelina Vega and Andrade all cut promos, and Zelina was talking about spoilers, talking about Game of Thrones and Avengers Endgame, because WWE is very topical as well. The match actually starts during the commercial, which gets a big thumbs down from me, a big one. When we come back, Orton is working on Mustafa Ali's leg. Ali tries to fight back after rolling Orton up for a pin, but he eats the spinning power slam instead. European uppercut by Orton follows. He whips Ali into the ropes, who bounces back and does the pop-up drop kick. Ali jumps up on a turnbuckle, and he fakes Orton out, who was waiting for him to hit an RKO. So instead, Ali, thanks to this fake out, hits a tornado DDT on Orton, covers him, but only gets 2. Andrade comes in next. He hits a big lariat that takes Ali down. He throws him out, and he's with Finn in the ring now. He runs to Finn in the corner, but eats double feet, and Finn keeps Orton and Ali out of the ring. In the meantime, he hits a spine buster on, he being Finn, on Andrade, the double stomp on the chest. Balor goes up top, but then gets crotched by Andrade. Finn is in the corner, hits his double knees, Finn is in the corner, and Andrade hits the double knees, covers Finn, but only gets 2. And Andrade goes for a ladder. No, he goes for 2 ladders. He ladders Finn across the face, or the chest, or whatever. And then Orton eats a super kick from Ali. Ali goes for a pescado on Andrade, who's on the outside, but Andrade has a ladder in his hands, and he lifts it up as Ali flies off, and Ali just crashes on the ladder. Back from another commercial, Finn gets whipped into a ladder, but he bounces back and hits a sling blade, drop kicks Andrade into the ladder, but then Finn eats the face crusher by Ali. The 450 is avoided. Ali lands on his feet, but runs right into an RKO by Orton. But then Andrade is off the top turnbuckle with a missile drop kick on Orton. Finn runs in and eats the back elbow. Andrade goes for the hammerlock DDT, but it's reversed into a roll-up attempt by Ali. Was it on Finn? I'm sorry, I don't. My notes got screwed up here. But the hammerlock DDT was reversed into a cover attempt. This was followed by a tope con hilo by Finn onto Ollie and Orton on the outside. Andrade crashes Finn into the steps, gets him back in the ring, hits the hammerlock DDT on Finn for the win. Another clean victory on your Intercontinental Champion. What do titles mean? Then Andrade grabs a ladder and climbs to the top of the ladder to get his moment up there with the briefcase, right? But then Ricochet is here. He's here with the wild card rules, and I'm like, what? Okay, what does he have to contribute? I mean, he runs up the ladder and he starts slugging it out with Ricochet, with the Andrade. I'm like, why? Why are you guys fighting for an empty briefcase? This is dumb. What? Did Ricochet really come from Raw just to run up a ladder and grab a fake briefcase, an empty one? It's momentum, Warren. Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh. Want to say hello to Richard Storm, who's in the chat. Carlos, Sports and Things, how you doing? And if I'm not mistaken, I think I saw RJ as well in here. RJ, how you doing? People are basically just talking about me, but what about the show, folks? What about the show? Kristen says whatever is kind of Warren's attitude on wrestling coverage. What? No, I'm much more invested in that. Cripes. What are you talking about? Blaine. Okay, Blaine, finally. Blaine has something to contribute. Thank you, Blaine, world's most handsome mod. Can we all stop pretending that the wild card rules is a thing and that the brand split is over for now? Yes. Let's do that. I think if we all came together and just accepted that, I think I'd sleep better at night. And Robert Larry, how you doing? This wildcard rule is complete mess, and the WWE have made their product even worse. All right. And Anthony says that he didn't watch, and am I his SmackDown baby? I guess so. We get a backstage segment with Kofi and Xavier Woods, where Kofi... By the way, I really liked that match. I thought it was a solid match. I still preferred Cesaro and Rey from last night, which I think was magnificent. I may be overextending a bit. It was a fantastic match. This was fun too. It was a lot of fun. It was a great pace. Everyone looked good. Even Randall Orton. Backstage, you have Kofi telling Xavier Woods to stay away from the Kevin Owens show. He's got this. He's going to handle business all by himself. And Xavier's like... Then we have Charlotte Flair, who comes to the ring to throw to her video, and that was all. Listen. I'm okay with Charlotte. I'm okay with this promo video that they ran, just recapping the thing, seeing how they retconned, not alluding to the fact that Becky was supposed to be a heel, that one promo she cut the night after, the Tuesday after SmackDown, right? Remember that one? And not SmackDown, the Tuesday after SummerSlam. Remember that? Remember when she was supposed to be like this angry heel and no one bought into it? Remember that? I remember that. But man, they have got to cut down on these really long recap promos, videos. They really do. The Roman one, the Seth and AJ one, the women's one. Shorter to begin with. And if you want to focus on performers, have them, have like little minute capsules vignettes on, their past and who they are and where they're going. Just spread it out. Do it for more people, not just always the same folks. Because the video in itself was okay. But the pacing tonight on SmackDown was so incredibly sluggish. We had one match. It took us about 27 minutes to get into that first match. And then we tumble into another sequence where it's not even interaction. It's more promo times, more mic time, but it's a video. There's nothing interactive. There's nothing going on. So we're like, okay, I'm sitting back and I'm watching a video right now. This is what you want me to do while I'm just starved for action. Like I said, the video was fine in and about itself. It's just, it did not work in the pacing of the match tonight. Then, Aleister Black, speaking of promos, Aleister Black cuts another one of his promos. And this is as good a time to remind us all that Aleister Black got over in NXT without saying a single goddamn word for the majority of his of the first year he was in or so. 14 to 18 months in. Don't remember exactly. That was the whole basis of his feud with Velveteen Dream. That he didn't talk and Velveteen wanted him to say his name. That was the whole deal. Kristen and I were... Kristen actually tweeted this out and I completely agreed with her. She said, we don't want to see Aleister Black talk. The mystique, that's what we want. The mystique, the man, the presence, because he has a presence. His entrance is perfect to give him something mysterious, an aura about him. That's what we want. Let Aleister Black hit the ring, strike the shit out of people, black mass people into oblivion, make the Black Mass the new RKO. Super protected, that knocks people out like that you once you get hit with it, you're done. It's finito. And you've got yourself a major star. You don't need some overgeneralized explanations as to why he fights. We all know it's wrestling. Everyone's there to fight for the most minute reasons. We've had people in the history of wrestling fight because one guy took another guy's jean jacket and they had to fight to settle it. Everything is settled with fighting. It's all about fighting. We don't need the reasons. Just make him do it. He just wants to beat people up. God damn it. See, Carlos in the chat, he said it himself. Aleister needs to just shut up and kick heads off. God, it's so simple. Simple booking. And look, I'm an Aleister guy. I love Aleister Black. I always have. I have a soft spot for him. And that's the thing. You say to yourself, man, how are they going to mess? They can't mess up XY, but they do. I'm not saying they're messing it up. I think that the tag team with Ricochet was a great way to introduce him and help introduce him to the main roster. That was a great move. Ricochet is over. But look at what they're doing with Nikki Cross. Nikki Cross was another sure thing. You just let Nikki Cross be Nikki Cross. Why does she have to be level-headed and express her feelings? Fuck. That's not why we like Nikki Cross. It's the same thing with Aleister Black. I don't want Aleister Black to give me weekly dissertations on why he wants to black mass people into oblivion. Just let him beat people up. God damn it. Next, we had the 4-on-3 match where with Shane, Elias, Daniel Bryan, and Eric Rowan versus the Usos and Roman Reigns. Now, we should have been much more excited to see Roman Reigns Well, to see the Anoa'i together, right? Have the family, have the Samoans all together. You're like, you know, Roman would benefit from having his cousins around and to be some sort of informal trio a la New Day more than the Shield, but just having these guys be around to have his back and vice versa. It would have benefited him so much. The Usos, well, the Usos are fine. They're one of the best tag teams in the world right now. So they're fine. Hanging out with Roman would have just helped them out as well. It would have just been beautiful, very beneficial. And it's a shame that they were put together in this context because we just couldn't appreciate it properly. Basically, it starts with Daniel Bryan and Jimmy Uso, where they have a lot of back and forth, a test of strength. But then quickly, the Usos get their double team splash in, and it's actually Jay that performs it. He covers Daniel Bryan. Doesn't even get one, though. Elias tags in and starts to mow down Jay, but he eats an enziguri. Jay goes up top for a splash, and he lands on his feet, and he tweaks his knee. Oh my God, it's back. We saw it last night. You remember, they were doing this every week. And for the longest time, we hadn't been seeing it. And then, 2 nights in a row, we have tweak the knees. And I get it. It's a very believable, like, injury, and it's possible for them to happen. But, you know, when it's a work, you can choose not to have it happen every night that you have a wrestling show on. It annoys me. It's back, and I hate it. Is it just me, or am I very negative today? Oh. The thing is, I'm just taking it all in stride. I think I seem more worked up than I am. I'm just a passionate guy. What can I tell you? Elias then starts to work on the knee, and then Shane comes in and he works the knees, and all the heels work on Jay's tweaked knee. Daniel Bryan at some point goes on sets Jay up on the top rope. There's just shenanigans that happen, which ends with Bryan shoving Jay off the top rope and onto the barricade. Hell of a bump to take. It's not, that's a long way down. Back from commercial, we have Rowan working over Jay. Finally, though, Roman gets the hot tag in. He takes Daniel Bryan out, goes for a super punch on Bryan, who instead kicks Roman Reigns in the face. Then Rowan comes in to do some damage, but Elias tags himself in because Roman is injured. He's hurt. So he goes in with some forearms, hits a running knee, covers Roman Reigns for 2.9. And that's Roman who takes a beating. Not only does he take a beating, but he takes the vice, the head vice. You're placing your fists on either side of my head. God. Oh. Then we go to another commercial because, of course, this match has to be super fucking long. I'm sorry, guys. I'm really this episode of SmackDown just got to me. Back from commercial, Elias is beating up Roman, but he eats a Samoan drop. Then Jimmy gets the hot tag. Daniel Bryan is in as well. Daniel Bryan avoids a super kick, but Shane, Elias, and Rowan all eat super kicks. The Usos hit double super kicks on Rowan. Bryan flies off the top rope. He eats a super kick. Cover, but Shane breaks it up. Elias then hits the drift away on Jay. There's a super kick on Elias by Jimmy. Bryan with a flying knee covers Jimmy, but Roman breaks it up. Eric Rowan, he decides that he headbutts Roman Reigns, and he survives. He doesn't hurt himself. By God, Eric Rowan headbutts a Samoan, and he's okay. I think he may be Superman. Or Brightborn. what is it? Bright light, the evil Superman movie. What's it called? Brightborn? I don't remember. Chris Jeter in the chat. Maven Glean in the chat. How you doing, everyone? So basically that's it. So Rowan basically headbutts Roman, clotheslines him to the floor. Roman gets tossed into the stairs. Coast to coast by Shane on Jay. And I wonder, should Shane be doing coast to coast as a heel? Because it's very much to me, it's very much a babyface move because people get excited for that. I don't know why. But that actually gets the pin. Shane McMahon gets the pin on Jay thanks to the coast to coast. But then the Miz runs in with the chair. And I'm like, wait, they're canceling the cage match at Money in the Bank, which is like one of their marquee matches. But then commentary says, no, since the match is over, Miz can run in. But like, wait, didn't he say that he was barred from the building? I'm like, oh, SmackDown tonight. I'm just a simple dude. And I want things to be easy to follow. I just want things to happen. Thank you, J.S. Brown, by the way. It's Brightburn. And how you doing, J.S. Brown? Oh, brother. I feel like I'm gonna have to interfere here and eventually get Anthony Suter to get his face fixed again. Robert Larry says that he thinks Shane had a concussion by doing the coast to coast move off the top rope. Yeah, do you think so? Yeah? Or is that being reported or something? I don't know. It always looks like he's hurting himself really, really bad. Next. Oh boy, folks. I think I gotta pat myself down a bit here. I got new lighting. It's a little warmer in here because of the lighting. And I don't know if you could tell, I'm a little excited tonight. And I'm about to get a little more excited because Paige comes to the ring accompanied by her new tag team. For some reason, she introduced them as a new tag team. They've been pushing Kairi Sane and Asuka for like 3 weeks now since the brand split. Nothing makes sense in this company. Jesus. She comes to the ring and she announces the arrival of the brand new sensation, the team that will define the women's women's tag team division in WWE. Ladies and gentlemen, Asuka and Kairi Sane, also known as the Kabuki Warriors. So basically, what else could they have called them? Like, literally anything else, I think. I really do think they could have called them the Joshi Experience, and I would have been fine with that. I really do, and I thought it would have actually been funny. The thing here, I don't know if you're familiar with the art of kabuki, but it is a traditional Japanese form of theater, and that's not my issue with it. They can do whatever you want. They can not they can do whatever they want, but the art of kabuki is something in and about itself. It's just it's interesting, or at least maybe someone doesn't understand what the Kabuki Warriors like. That's not exactly it. Doesn't mesh. It's like if you were to say, if you were to call yourself, I don't know, the Broadway brawlers. No, that doesn't work. The the Shakespearean brawlers. You know, it's two things that don't work together. But on top of this, and there are some people out there, especially over on Bell to Bells, who will be addressing this situation over the next few days via very interesting articles. People who are much more invested or knowledgeable. There we go. Knowledgeable in the matter. But it's just really, really strange to bring up the idea of kabuki when the art of kabuki, when kabuki theater, traditional, even to this day, does not allow women to perform in it. Even if there are women characters, women are forbidden to take part in kabuki in modern day Japan. This isn't like, oh yeah, 30 years ago it used to be like that. No, and actually, when kabuki started, in the origins of the art form, it was performed entirely by women. Then women were set aside completely because kabuki troops had prostitution sidelines. So the powers that be, being the brilliant governing bodies that they are even at the time, decided, no, well then we're just going to ban women altogether and it's just going to be dudes who are going to take care of it. And it's really strange, and it's strange in that matter where they would bring this very particular and very, very Japanese vision of this very Japanese art form that has a very specific cultural context, which is not necessarily conducive to our Western or Occidental culture or worldview. Doesn't exactly mesh well together. You know, we have a lot of cultural idiosyncrasies or differences, I should say, with the Japanese. Things that are upon which they're a little looser, that we as a society don't consider acceptable, and vice versa. There is something a little, I don't know if it's insensitive, I don't know if it's ignorant, but it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It's not a good name. And it's very, very strange that we have women put in this position. And you know, I've talked with people who said, well, you know, back in Shakespeare's day, when he had his troupe, when he had his theater at the Globe, you know, women couldn't perform either. They had young boys performing the roles of women. Yeah. Okay. Back in the Renaissance in the 16th, 17th century, but not anymore. It's not even a thing where it's like, oh, culturally this used to be like that. It's still like that. It's still segregated. I don't like it. And it doesn't make sense. And like Blaine says in the chat, and it's strange if you don't understand it from Eastern views. You're absolutely correct. But we're not seeing, it's being portrayed in Western culture, you know? Even though WWE does go do shows on occasion in Japan, it's mostly North American, Western Europe, and very, very English, Anglo-Saxon, you know? There's even some things that WWE pulls off that and I know for a fact that a lot of the French don't quite understand, don't pick up on, because the cultural references are very, very specific. So to me, it's not even an excuse to say, well, it's okay in Japan. I don't care if it's okay in Japan. You know, it's okay in Saudi Arabia for women to not drive cars. I'm not okay with it. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to compare both. I'm not trying to say and saying which is worse. I'm saying that what's good for the goose is not necessarily good for the gander. And that's my main problem with it. And I'm going to leave it at that. Because like I said, there will be, and there are, much smarter people who will be able to break this down in much more cogent terms. Now, I understand, don't get me wrong, I understand the cultural significance of what kabuki is. I've seen kabuki shows in the past. I've studied it. I understand. But but putting the kabuki name, the term, putting it on a women's tag team is very strange. It's just very, very strange. And Chris Jeter in the chat, by the way, say hello to Dat Ass Podcast. All right, nice to see you. But Chris Jeter in the chat says, they don't even need a tag team name. But I guess they have T-shirts to sell. They don't even need a tag team name. And I mean, look, honest to God, before you come up with a tag team name for Asuka and Kairi Sane, why don't you give them a proper theme instead of this lazy fade in, fade out mix shit that they have going for them? My God. By God. That's garbage. So anyway, the Iconics are in commentary for this match where we have Asuka and Kairi Sane against Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. And Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, because WWE has to make us understand. They have to let us know that they are current and on top of topics. And since they're in London, well, they have to make fun of the royal baby's name. Which is not even that. It's not even that. I know some people don't like it. I don't. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. It doesn't matter. You know what? It kind of makes me laugh to think that maybe someday there will be a King Archie. And I really, I hope I'm here for that. I hope that happens, and I hope I'm here for King Archie. That'll be fantastic shit. So basically, the match starts with Asuka and Sonya Deville. And look. Give me as much Sonya Deville and Asuka in the same ring at the same time. I'm okay with that. Asuka hits a hip attack on Deville. Sane comes in, double team, and they do their double team kick, axe kick, bulldog basement drop kick combo, which they still haven't got perfectly down yet. There's still room for improvement. It was still a little weak sauce. Deville goes to the outside. Sane takes out Mandy Rose, who's checking on Deville. Asuka hits a hip attack on Deville, and we go to commercial. Back from commercial, Sane is chopping at Mandy Rose. Crossbody by Sane, covers, but Rose kicks out. Sane hits a dragon screw leg whip. Sane then walks the plank to deliver the sliding D, but Deville moves Rose out of the corner, and Sane planks herself. Rose hits her pump knee. Deville comes in. She snapmares Sane over. Sliding knee, covers her, but only gets 2. Rose does a backbreaker. She's bending Sane over her knee. Sane finally makes the hot tag to Asuka, who comes in. Drop kick, knee lift, German suplex, hip attack in the corner, roundhouse kick. And she rolls Mandy Rose into the Asuka lock. Deville runs in to break it up. Deville gets some kicks in on Asuka, who strikes back with kicks of her own. And man, can Asuka kick. Holy shit. Holy shit. Deville blocks a kick and throat punches Asuka down. Hits a spine buster. She goes to cover, but Rose wants in. She says, I got this, I got this. And Deville's kind of like, okay. And she tags her in. Lets Rose goes in for the pin, but she gets reversed by Asuka, and Asuka pins Mandy Rose. And Asuka and Kairi Sane win. Not much, there's not much else to come out of this. It was fine. It was fine for what it is. Joe Anthony says they really did half-ass the Kairi Asuka mashup theme compared to past matchups such as Rated RKO, Jericho, Show Miz, or even like Cesaro and Sheamus, right? Because Cesaro and Sheamus is essentially like that's another that they mashed up really, really well, just very simply, but it's just super lazy. Oh my god. And our main event is a segment. Well, first of all, Kyla Braxton is too afraid to interview Lars Sullivan, and if you read his forum posts, you would be too. Oh, this look. I don't want to stretch. I've ranted enough for one evening, but all I will say is that it's not new news. These forum posts popped up last year on Lars, and they're deplorable. There's some greasy stuff that was said, and it's not pretty. And I in no way can I sit here and defend Lars Sullivan for what he did. What I will say, though, is how weird it is that WWE is fining an employee, fining an independent contractor for things that happened before he was employed by WWE. So they're fining him for things he did before, things that they didn't pick up. It's their fault, essentially, to have hired him. And he had done these things that hired him despite the fact that he had said things that go against their internal code of ethics, essentially. So they're hiring him, and then they're like, whoops, well, we fucked up, so we're going to fine you for what you said before you worked for us, before you agreed to our code of conduct. They're going to take $100,000 out of your pocket, and you're going to go to sensitivity training. It's very strange. What would have been the better option? Honestly, fire him. It sucks. I've said it often. I've said it many times. I want all wrestlers to succeed. I want wrestlers to have good careers. But if you're sensitive to your image, and if you hired this guy despite the fact that he said these things, well, it's on you to correct the mistake. So it's like, whoops, we fucked up. Sorry, we're going to have to let you go because this is not going to work. Not, we're going to fine you. It's just very strange. I said I wouldn't rant. By the way. So we move on to our main event, basically, which is Kevin Owens and Kofi Kingston at the Kevin Owens show, but Kofi Kingston actually goes ahead before Kevin Owens and goes to the Kevin Owens show without Kevin Owens being there. And, he's tossing pancakes, he's doing his thing. And basically he says, well, Kevin, you're not coming out. Are you shook? But then Kevin comes up on screen and he says, that he didn't wait 11 years to make his mark. And he runs another video package. They're overdoing it with the video packages. Then they run a video package of everything Kevin Owens has done since coming in. When I came in, I went after John Cena and I took him out. And all I've done is take out people who've been in my way. And the Festival of Friendship. Oh, Chris Jericho. I remember when you used to be in WWE. When you were so young and fresh-faced. Or you didn't put, like, poor makeup on your face. I remember that. And basically Kofi is like, he tosses chairs out and said, come on, Kevin, you come down to the ring. And Kevin does, and they fuck around a bit. And then eventually Kofi goes after Kevin Owens in the up the ramp, and they start brawling. And then Sami Zayn, woo, wild card. He comes out of nowhere to help Kevin Owens take out Kofi. Anyway, there's a lot of brawling. Xavier Woods gets involved. Ultimately, it ends with Sami eating the Trouble in Paradise. Kevin Owens slinks away. It was what it was. Look. There was a good match on this show, and that was it. After that, I think everything was marred. Everything was marred with weird booking decisions and really poor pacing. Like, the SmackDown didn't have its usual flow tonight. Everything felt like they were pulling on the reins. It felt like a go-home show, but one of those go-home shows where you're like, not even sure I want to watch the pay-per-view anymore. I am going to watch it, though. I'm going to watch it because I have good reasons to watch it. I have good reasons to watch Money in the Bank this year. And I also want to do my prediction show, which is going to be Thursday right here on youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes. Again, my guest will be Kristen Ashley. We are going to run down the card. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have our predictions there. That's why I'm not talking predictions tonight. I'm not talking about who I think is going to win. And if you want to come share your predictions with us live, come to youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes this Thursday evening, and you'll be able to join us in the chat just like all these wonderful people did in the chat again tonight. By God, by goodness, I am privileged to have all you wonderful people come in here, join us, join me and participate and have a good time talking about WWE, even though it's so hard to love sometimes. But when it's good, it's good. And I feel like I do that. I feel like when it's good times, I take the time to point it out. But when it's bad times, man, you have to point it out as well. The good and the bad. Folks, I want to thank you all so very, very much for joining me live or listening at your convenience, wherever it is. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at MrWarrenHayes. And I'll see you all next time.